Hello and welcome to the Pharmacy Informatics Professor 2020 with your host, Dr. Arman Simonian. As we look at the medication use process and technologies that are applied across the medication use process, we see at the point of administration, there are a couple of technologies that have really been implemented to a high degree. And those would include the smart pumps and barcode medication administration, or BCMA. Now, I recently ran across a little news article on a vaccine robot. So this would be robotics applied to the administration end of the medication use process. And it's really different. It's something new for the pharmacy informaticist because it actually loads vaccines, administers them, and then unloads them all autonomously. Okay, so this is new. There's no clinician involved with giving the vaccine from start to finish. So if you're interested in researching this further, let me just quickly share my screen, and I have the YouTube video that I will see if this will work, and we'll just watch a little bit of it. So you see that the robotic arm is actually picking up the preloaded vaccine dose. The patient is checked in, and the machine now is going to calibrate itself to make sure that it has the right height and position to give the injection to the patient. The patient has to swab their own arm, and then the robot will go ahead and go to the right spot and provide the injection. At the end, the robot will go and unload the used capsule into a special receptacle, and that's the end of the process. Interesting that that the robot is doing the whole vaccination start to finish. As a pharmacy informaticist, I kind of take a FMEA approach when I see these new technologies. And I ask myself in a failure modes and effects analysis, what could possibly go wrong with this robot? And there are a lot of things that come to my head. And I just wanted to quickly talk about these to kind of stimulate your thinking as a pharmacy informaticist when you're confronted with new technologies and asked to be a beta site or actually implement new technology that's out there. What kind of steps do you take? And I think the FMEA, looking forward at things that could go wrong that you want the system to do to ensure the 5 rights for the patient, that you're addressing those before you implement the technology. So number one, the patient has to be identified properly, which it seems like they are doing in this case. But I believe that there has to be a strong connection between the robot and the electronic health record. So you want to make sure that this is the right patient, that they haven't already received the vaccine, and they're eligible for the vaccine, and in their current condition, they're not immune compromised. They don't have a current active illness going on, other things that we look at, allergies and all of that, to make sure that it's okay and safe to give this dose of vaccine to the patient. In terms of pharmacy practice, inventory control. So it looks like we have to buy special cartridges of the vaccine that are made for the robot. So whatever vaccine you're going to give, I don't know if the robot would just be programmed to do one type of vaccine or multiple vaccines, but those vaccines obviously have to be preloaded. You're not going to be able to give a frozen vaccine that has a diluent that you have to reconstitute the vaccine before administration. It doesn't look like the robot knows how to do that. And so you'd be limited to the types of vaccines that you can give. I'd want to know that if it's a vaccine that has to be refrigerated, that there's a refrigeration unit within that machine. And then if the robot arm is going to administer more than one type of vaccine, that is able to self-clean to make sure that there's no residue, even though it's a needleless process and it's shooting that stream of vaccine in a very fine stream into the arm. We still have to worry about cross-contamination and making sure that if there's going to be a different vaccine given, that it's given properly. And then once the vaccine is given, then of course it has to be recorded in the electronic health record. If it's not recorded, if it's not on the electronic medication administration record, then it didn't happen. So again, there has to be that strong interface, that strong connection with the EHR. The other thing I worry about that I thought of right away was, as a pharmacist, we know that certain vaccines have to be given IM and some have to be given sub-Q, and it depends on if it's a live or attenuated vaccine. And I'm not sure if that machine is giving an IM injection or a sub-Q. It looked like it was giving an IM injection, but then is it able to change the angle and get that fine stream of vaccine under the skin as a sub-Q injection versus an IM injection? So this is something that I thought of as a pharmacist right away on giving vaccines and the capabilities of the robot. So a lot to think about, and these are just a few thoughts. I'm sure you could think of 10 or 20 different aspects that you would want to address before implementing this robot. It's not ready for prime time. Go and look at the YouTube video. They actually have a few videos that talk about their vision for the future and how the robot works currently. But it's not approved, it's not licensed, it's not approved by the FDA yet, as far as I know, and it's not really ready for prime time. But interesting that they're working on it. And, we've talked about autonomous vehicles, and now we're looking at an autonomous robot that can give vaccinations. Very interesting, and will have a big impact on pharmacy practice if this ever comes to fruition. And so something to keep our eyes on. So if you found this interesting, please like the video and subscribe to my channel, and I will thank you for that. And in the meantime, stay safe, stay healthy, look after the health of others. I will continue to work on more episodes, and I hope to see you next time. Take care.